Back in the beginning of December, some of you may recall us mentioning that we may or may not hit 1,000 views before the end of our 6th month of existing. Well, it just so happens, looking over the stats, that we indeed did hit the 1,000 view mark before December ended. In fact, we hit roughly 1,200 views. While it's a small milestone, it's a milestone of a relatively unknown site. It's proof we should continue doing what we are doing and evolve as we continue. It's awesome to know that we're not only viewed just here in America, but also several other countries such as United Kingdom, Poland, France, Canada, Germany, Mexico, Brazil, Hungary, Ireland, Australia, Peru, and more. 37 more countries to be precise. So, as thanks to everyone who has and will view our site, here's a video exclusive. The year 1995. However, this was released in 1993, yet it wasn't until 2 years later when my brother and I rented this game for the first time. Every time we rented it, and we rented it often, it led to evenings of trying to beat one of the greatest multiplayer experiences in a racing game for the SNES to ever be made. We rented this game so much that it is possible that we spent more in renting this game than if we had bought it in the first place. I absolutely can't state it any more bluntly. This game is just one of those games that will forever live on as a game of nostalgia. Even long after the time when all games leave for Gaming Valhalla, the fond memories will live on. Rock and Roll Racing was originally going to be called RPM 2 after the SNES game RPM Racing, both games of which were made by Silicon and Synapse, a little game company that you all now know as Blizzard Entertainment. Both games were under contract with Interplay Entertainment. It's Interplay Entertainment that ended up deciding to get licensed instrumental rock music added at the end of the development, which made them change the game name to Rock and Roll Racing. The instrumental music to be included in the game were the songs The Peter Gunn Theme by Henry Mancini, Paranoid by Black Sabbath, Highway Star by Deep Purple, Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf, and Bad at the Bone by George Thorogood, of course, all in MIDI glory. The music in this game rocked. Bad pun aside, the game's music fueled the battle and racing gameplay. It added to the atmosphere of the game, but considering how many races one or two players could encounter, the music would get a little old. Having the same 4 to 5 tracks playing over and over would become tiresome, even if they added to the overall fun of the game. Assuming the music didn't get to you, well then the announcer probably did. Loudmouth Larry, who announced the races and the happenings in the races, oftentimes got annoying after announcing the same things over and over. Or when he announced your accidents almost in jest, which would lead to fueling your anger and causing more accidents. So eventually most people I knew of would mute the TV and just put their own jams in the background. From the few friends that I have also played with this game or talked about this game, they often use the password system to save their games and return to it where they left off when they had to do things like homework or chores. Though in my case, I only recall my brother and I ever just playing through in one continual shot. I certainly never recall beating it with my brother. We always played the veteran difficulty, and in this game there's only 3 levels of difficulty, the first of which is Rookie, where you have 3 worlds that you have to win, only 1 division on each. The game ramps up in Veteran, the next level of difficulty. Not only are the AI racers more aggressive in attack, but they aren't as idiotic as in Rookie. Not to mention that, now you have to win 2 divisions per each planet, and there's now 5. After Veteran difficulty, there's Warrior difficulty. Yes, that's right. The first 2 levels followed a more contemporary terminology, but instead of extreme or hardcore, no. It's Warrior, because life is war. At least in this game, in this difficulty, it certainly is. On top of the, well, smarter and again, more aggressive AI, they added a 6th world. So now you have 12 total divisions that you have to win, and that's about a bare minimum of 84 races total. Regardless of which difficulty you choose to play on, the first 2 worlds will always remain the same. Chem VI, or 5 plus 1, so I guess 6, Chem 6 is essentially a series of racetracks that have been built in your local harbor or bay. I mean, just look at that water. Seriously, don't swim in it. Although I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a Cloud City take, and the water is actually really gas and the tracks are floating above. After Chem 6 comes Draconis, a land that to me looks kind of what would happen if the Zerg ever overran the Corporeal sector and then gained sentience and civility enough to host an interspecies racing tournament. Seriously, I wouldn't be surprised if this is where the Zerg from StarCraft got their origins. After Draconis, you race in Bogmire, and if you're a rookie, this is the last world for you. With the name Bogmire, you would think it kind of looked where they recorded the show Swamp People, but no. Look at this. This is a bog. This is a mire. Put them together and they make an orange land holding up racetracks over purple water. It's like a prehistoric version of Chem 6. Just, again, don't swim in the water. If you're a veteran or warrior, your challenges aren't over. After you leave Bogmire, you head to New Mojave. But I always wanted to add a diacritical mark over the E and pronounce it as Mojave. Anyways, the lands of Mojave, E, is essentially a military base in a desert. Only the base is painted woodland camo to make it easier to destroy in the coming war. But fret not, right now you're just racing over top of soldier heads and not directly on them. So I want to ask why? Is it woodland camo and not a more desert appropriate camo? Hell, even pink would be better. Although, I already know why, so let's move on. So after Mojave, it's NHO, or no. This is the last world of the veteran difficulty, and the world my brother and I never seem to be. It's essentially a winter wonderland filled with snow and ice. Yay! But it's not Christmas, so there's no presents. Aww. Now, if you're playing Warrior and made it through No, then you're going to have to race and beat the 6th world, Inferno. Or what I call today, Mustafar.
Bit of lava-y, a lot of lava happening, but I think we can make it work.
Yeah, that's actually spot on. And on each world, you know, there are certain hazards, such as puddles of sludge, water, lava, and the like. And there's also things that current racers drop, such as mines and oil slicks, and what seems to be what racers from other races have dropped. Each planet's racetracks are more distinct and more complex the further into the world list you get. So that's the planets, but what about the racers you can be? Well, there's 6 racers you can choose from the get-go. There's 2 others that you can be through other means that my brother and I didn't know about at the time. We'll return to those 2 later. As for the 6th, the first is Snake Sanders, whose home world is Terra, and he comes with a +1 in acceleration and top speed. He's the game's legit speed demon when compared to the other 5. Next is Cyberhawk, whose home is Serpentis, and his skills are +1 in acceleration and jumping. By the way, the weakest of the 4 possible skills a racer can have is jumping. It just doesn't pair well with the other skills. Then, there's Ivan Zypher, whose homeland is Fleagull, and comes with +1 to jumping and top speed. You know, I really wonder if he likes Flock of Seagull. Next is Katharina Lyons, whose homeland is Panteros V, or 5. Her skills are +1 to jumping and cornering, and she's considered the weakest of the 6 due to the 2 skills not working well together. There's also Jake Badlands, who harkens from Xeno Prime and has +1 skill in acceleration and cornering, and is often one of the 2 good choices for new players. And finally, Tarquin, who hails from Aurora, and he has +1 skill to top speed and cornering. Tarquin is the other good choice for new players, and one of my favorites. Each planet has their own representation via a racer, being as there's a max 6 planets, that's 6 unique racers, as well as 2 generic racers. Rip and Shred, of which are the 2 generic racers, they follow you from planet to planet. If you're playing 2-player, then the second player replaces Shred, and only Rip follows you from planet to planet. On Chem 6, you go up against their local hero, Viper McKay, who always reminded me of the F-Zero Captain Falcon. From Draconis comes Grinder X-19, and pretty much everyone can see that he's like a xenomorph alien from the movies Aliens. From Bogmire, there's Ragewort, and he kind of always made me think of Battletoads, but that's kind of a stretch. In New Mojave is Roadkill Kelly, or what I refer to as the long-haired Kano, as if Mortal Kombat became a racer. from No is Butcher Icebone, and he looks to be the most approachable racer out of everyone. He's kind of like Popo from Ice Climbers. Last but not least is JB Slash, and the only thing I can correlate him to is just maybe an alien I would see in a Men in Black movie. Whatever vehicle the local racer has, it's gonna be the one that you want or want to buy. Considering everything, let's talk about the two characters that you can be through less than upstanding means. The first being Olaf, a dwarf character hailing from the planet Valhalla, and coming from another game that Silicon and Synapse was developing right around the same time as this one, called The Lost Vikings. Olaf has +1 to 3 stats that are visible, and apparently +1 that isn't visible. To unlock him, you must be on the racer's select screen, and while cycling through the characters, holding down L, R, and select all at the same time as you go past them. Once you go past the last character, Tarquin, he will appear as a selectable character. The last character, of which has been dubbed online as Shadow, is a legit speed demon. His one and only skill he gets is +10 to top speed, so even in a normal state, in a new Marauder or Dirt Devil, he outraces all other racers. Get him into an Airblade or any other vehicle and he just flies. However, unlike Olaf, who was a Plan Seeker character, Shadow can only be found through password manipulation. And seeing this, and while I can't prove it, it just makes me think that it was a backdoor created by developers to test the game's worlds, tracks, upgrades, and vehicles. Considering that he is the fastest character at the start, it's almost guaranteed he'll win before you ever need to upgrade. And winning, placing in first, allows you to maximize your money and be able to buy vehicles and upgrades. So I can see him as allowing things to happen before they normally would. But, I can't prove this theory.
Light them up! Shred is dominating the race!
That was Rock and Roll Racing, came from my past. It's been a while since I actually played this game, and so I initially was not good at it. So, here's me failing at this game. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Thanks to everyone that has made this video possible. If you like this video, check out the rest of the site. Like us and follow us on our Facebook and Twitter for notices on posts and other things. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube to see stuff like this and more in the coming future.